Is debt the way out of the recession? And actually today, I'm not going to answer that question for you. I'm just going to give you a bunch of things to consider when you're thinking about taking on debt as a way to make it through the recession. So the first thing that I want to tell you is I don't believe there's a such thing as good debt or bad debt. There's no judgment around debt. When we put judgment on debt, then it just turns our whole perspective into something that isn't really fulfilling and abundant. So there are times where we all have to take on debt. And another way to think of this is debt could also be called invoices for blessings already received. And so you have received blessings from your business, and now maybe it's time to take on some debt so that you owe somebody for those blessings that you've already received. So some things to think about as you're taking on debt. Definitely evaluating the terms of the debt. Things like interest rates, repayment terms, any associated fees that go along with that. What is that going to do to the cash flow of your business? Are you going to be able to cash flow your business? So you may not be profitable, so you may need to take on debt, but you may be able to still be cash flow positive. You're going to have to be in order to make debt payments. So you want to make sure that you have planned that out before you decide to take on any debt. The other thing that you need to be thinking about is this debt maintaining operations, or is this an investment in something new and different in my business? That's where a lot of people turn to naming good debt and bad debt. If it's just for operations, they tend to say it's bad debt. And if it's for investments, it's good debt. In a recession, again, you may need to do it for operations. I would say don't do it until you've evaluated all of your expenses. Make sure that you are bare bones expenses. And then maybe you do need to take on some debt in order to make it through in those operating expenses. I would also say then, what are the parameters? What is the stopgap? What is the goal or the deadline you've set for yourself where you're done? You're not taking on any more debt, and maybe you're going to close, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently. But make sure you have that in mind before you go into debt. That removes some of that emotional thinking that happens when we just continue to pile on debt, thinking next month's going to be better, next month's going to be better, next month's going to be better. Naming those times and being accountable to somebody else to say, you know what, if after 6 months we're still not profitable, I'm done. I'm not going to take on any more debt. Or this is the dollar amount of debt that I'm willing to take on because I know I can cash flow that payment. So again, thinking through what that payment is going to cost you. And then creating that payment plan and creating that budget that prioritizes that debt repayment so that you know you can get out of it and pay off the debt when you turn the corner, right? So those are the things to keep in mind. And as always, if you need help with any of that, I know those are some really big conversations, and making those projections, coming up with that amortization schedule. If you aren't yet in talks with somebody about the bank, talking about refinancing current debt that you already have. I know interest rates are higher right now, so that may not be a really good thing to do, but at the same time, if you can get a longer term where you can take longer and it reduces the payment. So again, we're talking about cash flow here. Like I said, these are some really big conversations and really big topics. I don't think I can do justice for it in a quick video, but I do know that we can help you with that. So if these are conversations that you want to be having with somebody, which I would encourage you to be having with somebody, if you don't have a financial professional to be having these conversations with, I invite you to book a call with one of our team members, fitforprofit.com/FB-connect. We can talk about what it would look like to work with us and have us help you make these decisions. So like I said, no good debt, bad debt, no judgment around debt. You are receiving blessings. Sometimes we need to take an invoice in order to have time to pay that. If you need help determining if now is that time or not, fitforprofit.com/FB-connect.